I spent a long time creating a game. 7 years from idea to release, 5 years of active development. The game's alright, but I always felt like it could have been better. And now it is. Hi, my name is Dash, and this is my rhythm RPG, DISHARMONY. Something I always regretted during the development of the game was the fact that I started finalizing the graphics a little too soon. The game's development had its proper start in 2018, and at the time I was only 17 years old. I was inexperienced, and for some reason I was really stubborn about picking my own colours despite having a partial colour blindness. By the time I'd gotten better at drawing pixel art, I'd already made too much progress to go back and improve it all. The end result was a game that looked flat and unappealing. Some aspects are still nice, like the battle sprites and character portraits, but the overall aesthetic just isn't good. A while back I started working on the game's sequel, Serenity, which looks significantly better. I'm not going to sit here and claim to be the most talented artist ever or anything, but the difference is night and day. I also made a little epilogue game of sorts in the Game Boy Color called Elite Adventure. It was made as a cute little bonus to celebrate DISHARMONY's first anniversary. Only minutes after finishing that particular project, I went to bed happy with what I'd accomplished. The game wasn't amazing or anything, but it was cute, and added some well-needed screen time for the game's characters. It was then, in the dead of night, that I started reflecting over the games I'd made, as well as the one I was actively making. I thought I'd accepted that I'd moved on to bigger and better things after DISHARMONY, but man, I'm able to make some really nice looking stuff now, and the only project I have to showcase is a game that looks like that. Ugh. Wouldn't it be wild if I went back and fixed it? Not just the graphics, I could do so much. The super high difficulty, the low movement speed, the awkward camera, the dialogue. No, I couldn't. But would it really be that bad? The main character has, what, like 8 movement animations? One of the playable characters in Serenity is more than 4 times that, and there's 6 characters. Oh god, what am I getting myself into? Am I really remastering my entire game? The answer was yes. Developed entirely in secrecy, with over 500 hours of work put into it, I'm now ready to reveal the results. This is DISHARMONY Restrung. Nearly every single sprite and tile has been redrawn or edited in some way. The characters now look appealing, and much closer to how I imagined them to look in my head all those years ago. Boring solid colours making up the ground have been replaced with detailed tiles, the empty voids that once made up the character's eyes now have life, and the once flat objects now have shading with proper contrast and appropriate saturation levels. But this remaster features more than a graphical overhaul. New jokes and sound effects have been added, there are new NPCs and Easter eggs, jokes that once lacked a proper punchline or that came across as awkward have been rewritten. There are now far more extensive difficulty options and accessibility settings. Significant chunks of the game's script have seen revisions, new achievements have been added, the player's movement, all the game's collisions, and the camera have all been reworked. The game's cryptic true nature has also seen updates, with more hints as to what's really going on behind the surface. But hey, I'm not going to spoil everything a remaster has to offer. This update will go live today, so feel free to check it out if you're interested. Since the original release of the game, a few people have reached out to me over email telling me about various bugs. Those bugs, and many more, have now been removed. If you felt ignored after not receiving a response, I apologise. I just didn't want to spoil on what was going on behind the scenes. I can't assure every little thing in the game is going to work entirely as expected. I had even less help with this remaster than I did the original version of the game, so any and all testing has been done entirely on my own. I've also had to figure out loads of new Steamworks features, more or less on my own, and I can't guarantee that all of those will work out of the box. Maybe give it a day or two if you want to ensure that you're getting the best possible experience. The original version of the game will still be playable, it will be selectable as a secondary launch option if you're playing it for Steam, and as a bonus download over on itch. I wouldn't recommend playing it over the remaster, but it's always nice to keep it there as an option for the sake of preservation if nothing else. It is preserved exactly as it was as of its last update, bugs and all. To be completely honest, I still feel there is more I could do to improve the experience of playing the game, but those changes would be so drastic I would likely have to remake the game from scratch, and I really don't have that in me. The game still isn't a 10 out of 10 absolute masterpiece. It likely won't be winning any awards, but at least it's in a better place now than it was originally. If you absolutely hate the game in its original form, you probably aren't going to change your mind now. But if you thought it was like a 6 out of 10 before, or maybe you think it's a 7 or an 8 now? I don't know, rating systems are dumb, but you get my point. This wasn't exactly planned, but it just so happens that game pricing has been a hot topic in the past couple weeks. Apparently, Nintendo's games will go from costing $60 to $70 to costing $80 to $90. But I get it, development costs are high, the economy's rough, yada yada, so I think it only makes sense that I adjust my game's price too. So it might come as a bit of a blow, but I can confirm that I will be changing the game's price from $10 to, $7. Did we get that right? Don't get me wrong, this isn't putting the game on sale or anything, at least not at the moment. This is a permanent price drop. If you want to play the game, you'll never have to pay more than that. As a way to say thank you to the people who've already bought the game at full price, you will be receiving a copy of the game's soundtrack entirely for free. At least if you bought it on Steam. As far as I can tell, there is no option to do this automatically on itch, though considering the low amount of people who've actually bought it on itch, you can probably just send me an email, I'll double check, make sure it's the same address as on itch, and I'll get you hooked up. So, you might be thinking, why the hell did I do this? I just spent months working on a remaster of a game that was already done, instead of putting time into my new project, which is far more ambitious, and has now effectively been delayed for another, 9 months or so? There are two answers to that. Answer 1. I did it for myself. I talked about it a little earlier in the video, but basically, I kind of hated that DISHARMONY was the only finished project I had to showcase my work. It doesn't look great in a portfolio, and as an artist, I just wasn't pleased with how it turned out, since I knew I was capable of making something better. Ever since releasing the game, I've been told I should feel proud about what I've accomplished, and my answer to that has always been, yes, but... Now looking at what I've done, I feel far more pleased about my work, and I don't feel awful about showing it to people. Answer 2. I did it for the people who believed in me. I know this one sounds cheesy, but seriously, it's practically been forgotten by time now, but back when I was a dumb 18-year-old, I ran a Kickstarter campaign for the game. You know how they say cringing at your old work means you've improved? Well, my god, must I ever have improved. But despite the lackluster quality of the campaign page, there were people who genuinely believed in my project. Sure, it didn't get a massive budget or anything, but it hit its goal. Not only that, I got the Project We Love badge on Kickstarter. One of my first ever subscribers on YouTube was an established content creator who looked at my work and thought, hell yeah kid, keep it up. On top of that, my family's known about the game since the campaign went live. All those people and many more have something in common. They believed in me and my project, despite the way it looked. Some of them waited for years to get their hands on it. After all that time, I believe they deserve to get the best version of that project that I can give them. And that's what I think I've finally done. Also, I did make a promise a while back. I don't want it to fail, but realistically it's going to. I'm still determined to finish it, obviously, regardless of what happens. I'm gonna keep supporting it. And now, with the release of DISHARMONY Restrung, I feel like that promise has finally been fulfilled. I was planning on adding a little update here at the end, but the video's already gone on for a while, and I feel like I wrapped things up quite nicely. I think I'm gonna do a separate update video for anyone interested in what's going on with me and my projects, now that I'm back on track, and ready to return to Serenity. I have a lot of cool updates to share, so I hope you'll come along for the ride. Until then, I'd like to thank you all for watching all the way to the end. If you want to see more, you know what buttons to click. That'll be all for now, and as always, have a good day.